Welcome to Practical Caravan TV and the second episode in our brand new series. This time we've got even more 2018 tourers for you with the brand new Bailey Unicorn and the compact and affordable Explore 422. Plus, our David Motton will be checking out a tow vehicle that's perfect for the larger family, the Citroen SpaceTourer, and we'll drop in on Stonehenge Touring Park. Three years ago, almost to the day, I stood on this very spot and introduced you to the third generation Bailey Unicorn. And now we're back 3 years on with this, the Bailey Unicorn 4. It's even the same model, the Cadiz, which is the bestseller with its fixed twin single beds. And it feels very familiar. We've got pretty much the same profile. There are some new details such as these rather swish graphics, the squared edge dark tinted windows, and these rather smart new alloy wheels. But otherwise it's pretty much business as usual. We've got a 230 volt socket and an aerial point there, and to my right an external locker and a gas barbecue point. But then of course it wasn't the sidewalls that needed to change. The main issue was towards the front of the van. So let's have a look and see if they've addressed that. Well, praise be, they have. Amazingly, the profile is actually the same underneath this moulding, a result of the Alutech design, which means a pretty bluff fronted van. However, the addition of these full height bumper mouldings really has blended it in and given it a much more modern look. There's still that fantastic full height window, but the arrival of these panels, which look like windows but are actually only decorative, really pull the design together, make it feel much more coherent. That's also aided by the black hitch cover, which gives a balance to the design. If we go round to the other side of the van, there are a few more changes to look at here as well. There's still a side gas locker, but the design has been revised to give it a more compact shape, which we'll find out later has made a few changes inside the van. And instead of just the one external locker at the back here, we've got two. Now why is that, you ask? Well, let's open it up. This one here is just a standard locker. This one is a little bit more interesting because inside you'll find the toilet cassette. Now on the previous generation Cadiz, that was at the back. So fingers crossed, does that mean the back design is a bit better too? Well, yes it is. There's a new full width grab handle which should help you to maneuver the van onto your pitch, and once again a brand new bumper moulding which makes the van look a lot fresher and a lot younger. There are some pretty fundamental changes inside the van too, and not all of them positive, so let's start with the negative. The front shelf has gone. That fantastic deep full width shelf, which was a real USP of Bailey, and it was a really great place to put stuff while you were on tour, be it books or drinks or perhaps bottles of drinks. Instead, Bailey has used that space to make the sofas longer. They now tuck right up into the front corner of the van. Up to 5% apparently, which doesn't sound like a massive amount to me, but it actually means that it frees up more space for the living area of the van, as we'll come to in a bit. These new sofas look pretty inviting as well, don't they? These deep backrests with big squishy cushions look fantastic to lounge on. I'll reserve judgment, however, for how comfortable they are when made up into a double bed, because the feel of the different cushions might end up creating a bit of a lumpen feel for the bed. We'll wait till we've had a sleepover in the van to make our judgment call. Now, at the front here, the other change we've got is up top. Those of you who are familiar with the Bailey Unicorn 3 will remember that there were open shelves here on both sides, but Bailey's taken a leaf out of Luna's book and put in these rather fine little corner cabinets. They're surprisingly roomy actually, and there's space inside as well for your stereo. Looking at the head unit, it's good to see that it's both got Bluetooth connectivity and a DAB radio. Great stuff, and I think, someone will correct me, I'm sure, but that's a first for this market. There's another fantastic detail just underneath those cupboards. We've still got 4 spotlights, one in each corner, but now they've got USB points in them, so you can use lights and charge your devices at the same time. Bailey's even thought to put these little suede pockets in the corners so you can hook your phone or your tablet or your iPod in there while it's charging up. At the very front, well, we've still got a central chest, and it is a really good size. It's large enough to put your TV on if you want to, but actually the most sensible place to put your telly is on the new sideboard, which is a first for the Cadiz, right by the door with all the connection points that you need, and ideal for you to sit back in these new corner seats and relax and watch telly. Beside that little side unit, well, we've got the same tower refrigerator as in the Unicorn 3. What isn't the same, however, is this fantastic kitchen, which is inspired by Bailey's Autograph motorhome range. It really does look very classy indeed, and really quite a step above the last generation Unicorn. We've got an illuminated splashback there, a couple of sockets, and above them the controller for the Aldi wet central heating. There's the de rigueur pop-up flap should you need more worktop space, but it's highly unlikely that you will, because for this generation Unicorn, Bailey has listened to its customers who said what they really wanted was a proper lid over the cooker, like you used to get in caravans of old. And I must say, it does make the whole space look much more integrated. Underneath, well, there's the usual dual fuel 4-burner hob with an electric hot plate and 3 gas rings, and of course a separate oven and grill. Much more interesting, however, is this. Instead of the old round sink, there's a new square one, again from the motorhome range, and it's got this rather neat little combination of a chopping board and a drainer that fits perfectly on the worktop there. Underneath, there are 3 really large drawers with soft close action, very nicely done there. And to this end, there's a little wine bottle cabinet. Now that's happened because, like the Pegasus, the Unicorn has had its cooker moved across by 14 centimetres, which leaves space for your panhandles and of course for your booze. Now up high there's a microwave, and alongside it there's fantastic huge overhead locker, although don't do what I do and just yank the handle, because you've got to remember to undo the positive lock. I do like positive locking, but not when there's a chance I might rip it off because I've forgotten it's there. It's a shame it wasn't a bit closer to the handle. So now I've stepped back into the master bedroom, and guess what? More changes. The eagle-eyed among you might have noticed that the wood tones have changed in the Unicorn. It's now called eucalyptus, and it's a bit darker than the old model. But it really doesn't make things feel dingy, and that's mainly thanks to these rather nice gloss white locker doors, which are used throughout the van. It really bounces the light around and makes it feel lovely and bright. It's also helped by the lighting options. We've got this halo lighting over the cupboards, and there's also under cupboard lighting. It really is very classy and makes the van feel a lot posher than the old model. Another big change is the beds. That tweak to the front of the van, moving the whole lounge forwards, means that the fixed beds are being made longer. In the old model, one was 6'3" and the other 5'10", so you had to be sure to pick yourself a short partner. Now they're both 6'2" long, which is a really good size. We've got shelves on either side and a reading light with another of those USB charging points. And overhead, some big lockers. Underneath, there's plenty of storage space, although the one on the near side here also contains the storage for the lounge table. It's actually a much more sensible place than in the bathroom wardrobe. Now, talking of the bathroom, you wait till you see it. The layout is broadly similar to before in here, but the feel is completely different. Gone is the argument over whether a clear or frosted window is better, because there's now just a huge mirror, which expands the feeling of space. The cistern for the electric flush loo is completely concealed, which adds a classy finish. And there's a bowl sink with a pop-up plug. Beneath, a neat laundry basket is integrated where the cabinet once sat. The shower cubicle is still huge, but now features a stone effect liner for a classier feel. And there's a wire basket for all your lotions and potions, plus a hanging rail above. The door is now a bifold unit, because customer focus groups complained that the big single pane door was quite hard to get around. So there you have it, the Bailey Unicorn 4. Now Bailey tells us that the only item on the options list for this van is alternative upholstery, so in many ways it picks up where the old model left off. Fantastic specification and superb value for money. But where the Unicorn 3 let itself down was that it never really felt like a flagship van, always a bit too close to the lowlier models in the range. The Unicorn 4 not only looks a whole lot better, but it also feels much more special. which gives you a reason to pick it over pricier rivals that's about more than just value.
Most MPVs have 7 seats, but the third row is usually pretty cramped. What if you really need room for 7 or even more? That's where a car like the Citroen SpaceTourer comes in. There's lots of head and leg room in all 3 rows and room for 8. So, an ideal car for big families, but does it also make an ideal big family tow car?
For a car of this size, it's just under 5 metres long, the Citroen is relatively light, with a curb weight of 1,672 kilograms, including 75 kilos for the driver. We've matched it to a Swift Expression 646, with a mass in running order of 1,453 kilos.
For the most part, the Citroen is stable. It feels secure in still air, only starting to move around a bit in a strong crosswind. However, there is some pitching on a bumpy country road.
In the lane change test, the Citroen proved more able than you might expect. The long wheelbase seems to help this big MPV stay firmly in control when changing direction in a hurry, with no sense that the Caravan is pushing and shoving at the back of the car.
The 2-litre diesel engine has 273 pounds-feet of torque. That's enough for a respectable turn of speed while towing. At the test track, the SpaceTourer pulled the Swift from 30 to 60 miles per hour in 13.7 seconds.
So, it tows well and better than you might expect for an MPV that's based on a commercial vehicle. But the SpaceTourer's big selling point isn't the way it tows, it's the huge interior. It really is enormous. Even in the optional third row, there's room for adults to travel in comfort. Those in the second row have even more room to stretch out. Up front, the driver sits high up but still has plenty of headroom. The boot capacity isn't as impressive if the rear bench is all the way back, but both the second and third rows slide back and forth to juggle passenger space and luggage room. The seats can be folded down or removed completely, although they are heavy, and you'll need to find somewhere to store them.
Plenty of MPVs are better to drive than the SpaceTourer and more affordable to buy. But if space in all 3 rows is your priority, it's hard to argue with the Citroen's cavernous cabin. It's also a capable and stable tow car.
The small site that is Stonehenge Touring Park is an out-and-out back-to-basics affair. If you like your camping with few frills but plenty of nature, then this could be your ideal spot.
It's the atmosphere. The atmosphere of this site is incredible. Now, I'm not saying that because we run it. I'm saying it because there is nothing better of a morning than walking out here to a site full of people all having a great time.
Set in the stunning Wiltshire countryside, Stonehenge Touring Park is on the edge of Salisbury Plain and just minutes away from hundreds of beautiful country walks and hours of high-quality rambling.
We selected this campsite because it's a somewhat smaller campsite, yet nice location, in the green, in the fields. Yeah, that's why we like it.
It's a nice site, as you can see around here. It's like, you know, nice trees in it. It's a nice, friendly site. The owners are always welcoming. They're always happy to see you.
We don't like the big campsites. We like more the sites like this, small sites where you can do anything easy and which are more beautiful than the big ones where everything is ruled. We don't like rules.
And that relaxed atmosphere is just one reason why it's been a regular in our top 100 sites for the last 6 years. Our readers praise the site for being well laid out, for its spotless facilities and the friendly and helpful staff. Stonehenge Touring Park caters for just 30 touring vehicles and has a mixture of hard and soft standing pitches, all of which have access to electricity and water points. There's a drive-over facility for motorhome grey waste disposal and an L-sand point tucked away behind the toilet block. The toilet block itself is basic but clean. At the time of filming there were no disabled facilities, although the owner has confirmed these are in place now. Doubling up as the village store, the on-site shop sells everything from wine to greetings cards. And it's also where you'll find the basics for any touring trip, from gas bottle refills to tent pegs and mallets and power cables. And you don't have to be stuck on Stonehenge Touring Park if you don't want to be, as public transport is a 5-minute stroll from the site. Buses run to Salisbury and Devizes, and from there you can travel to the whole of Wiltshire and beyond. Stonehenge is just a short drive away, as is Cranbourne Chase, an area of outstanding natural beauty, plus the medieval town of Trowbridge.
Showers nice and clean, toilets always clean, showers always hot. It's just a nice friendly site.
Would definitely recommend the site. You just have to take into account that there's, if you're looking for contact longer than a couple of days, this might not be the ideal site because people tend to pop in and out just for a short visit to Stonehenge, so you have less visitors for a longer stay, but we kind of like it because you have short contacts, more contacts with people, so we kind of like that.
And if you like the idea of a small, friendly, back-to-basics campsite, then Stonehenge Touring Park could be just what you're looking for.
In recent years, the Explorer Group's budget Explore range has developed a fantastic reputation for building some great, affordable, lightweight family caravans. It's been a multiple award winner in the Practical Caravan Tourer of the Year awards. For 2018, however, the focus has shifted slightly to couples and concentrating more on that lightweight element. The larger 574 with fixed twin beds and the 6-berth 526 have left the range, and in their place comes this. It's the new 422. Now, you might not have noticed much in the way of change on the outside. There are some new graphics, but otherwise it's pretty much as it was last year, with still no front sunroof and that rather dated looking front profile. Like most Explorers, this one has been fitted with the SE pack, which brings alloy wheels and an AKS hitch stabiliser up front. And those wheels are now balanced, which should improve performance on tow. But the real differences, on this model at least, are to be found inside. It may be titchy on the outside, but like its little brother the 304, the 422 is simply vast inside for a van of such tiny proportions. These sofas are bonkers. I could fit 8 people in this lounge. It's just massive, although you'll pretty soon overwhelm both the freestanding table and the little pull-out coffee table if you have that many people on board. As ever in the Explore range, the upholstery is really pleasingly cheerful. It's called, would you believe, Shoreditch in Mango this year, but it does mean a rather attractive circular pattern, which makes a change from the leaves that predominated everywhere in last season's vans. The other thing you get in this van is a vast amount of storage space. There are 6 overhead lockers, 2 on each side and 2 at the front, thanks to there not being a front sunroof there. And of course there's masses more space underneath these sofas. There are no external access hatches unfortunately, nor indeed any drop-down flaps, so you will have to lift the sofa bases. But the one on the near side is completely uninterrupted, although the one here on the offside does have the consumer unit and the whale boiler inside it. It's worth pointing out that the 422 and the 304 stick with the onboard 2 kilowatt boiler, whereas larger models in the range get a new underfloor 4 kilowatt item to heat up those larger spaces more quickly. Other than that, there's not a huge amount to talk about in here. Overhead we've got a couple of speakers and a strip light, plus there's a single power point in the near side corner. There's another socket towards the rear of the lounge in the sideboard unit. That's the perfect place to put your telly, so you can relax here against these rather comfortable end bolsters, put your feet up and watch your favourite show. Of course, you'll find a 12-volt point and a satellite point in the same place. Lighting wise, we have got a couple of reading lights, but unfortunately only one on each side, so if you make this bed up as a double, only one of you will get a light. Talking of beds, these sofas are so long that they make massive single beds. Well over 6 feet, I find them very comfortable. To make up the double, well, you simply pull out the slats underneath the front chest and rearrange the cushions to create a vast bed, which uses the new Argentum mattress, which is claimed to be antibacterial and with an Osio core. If you were wondering how the designers had managed to get such a large lounge into such a small van, well, the answer's back here, where it's something of a masterpiece of packaging. Over the centre line of the van, above the axles, you'll find the main storage areas. You've got a rather shallow wardrobe directly above the fridge freezer, and then here on the near side, that sideboard unit with a big cupboard above and a smaller one below the rather low set work surface. Then back in the near side corner, well, we've got an L-shaped kitchen. It's a real traditionalist favourite. It's been out of favour for a while, but seems to be coming back in for the 2018 season. There's masses of storage back here again. We've got 3 drawers, a good sized pan cupboard beneath the combined oven and grill, and another couple of cupboards on this side, plus 3 or 4 overhead, although they are quite shallow. There's masses of light back here. We've got 1 window on the back wall, 1 window on the side wall, and some good task lighting as well. And it's great to see 2 sockets in the kitchen, so you can power up both kettle and toaster at the same time. There's not a vast amount of work surface back here. We've just got this strip along the near side. However, both the 3-burner gas hob and the sink, which is a good size, have got glass covers, so you can use them for food preparation should you need to. And that just leaves the washroom, which is to be found in the offside corner. Although compact, the washroom manages to pack in plenty of features. There's an attractive bowl sink with pop-up plug, and not 1 but 2 bathroom cabinets, the lower one ideal for putting your loo rolls in. There's a large fully lined shower cubicle and a rather neat concealed cistern, something you'd usually find in a more upmarket van. There's no window, but it feels lovely and bright thanks to a roof light overhead and plenty of LED lighting. It's interesting to see the end kitchen layout making a return for 2018. In fact, Eldis has put it pretty much across its portfolio. And in the Explore 422, it works particularly well. It may not have very much in the way of glamorous extras, but it has just about everything you could need, which makes it perfect for a couple seeking an affordable, lightweight 2-berth as their first foray into caravanning. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this week, but we'll be back next week with plenty more fantastic reviews. In fact, it'll be something of a luxury special, because we've got the new Mercedes E-Class Estate on test, along with the Coachman VIP 575 and the twin single bed Compass Camino 674. Plus, we'll also be checking out a couple of new awnings, so don't miss it. And in the meantime, you can keep up with us on Facebook, on Twitter, or indeed via our website. And don't forget that Practical Motorhome TV will be along in just a few minutes. Until next time, goodbye.